Hey guys, happy morning. And we have a new friend, Mr. Ravi Subramaniam, who is joining us from Chennai. He's one of the senior most trainers out there in Chennai, and he's been conducting a lot of workshops. He's done thousands of workshops and hours of or days of training programs with his skill set. He's really good at NLP training. This is for the friends who are not known, I mean, who are new to this particular training program. We'll also talk about it because this is happening and this is a result oriented training program. He's also good at doing a goal oriented training, so that you know what your goals are and you can follow that. He's been doing a lot of corporate trainings for team building activities, ensuring that the team is aligned for leadership, ensuring that the organization has good productivity, and most importantly, how do you control your mind and ensure that you're moving on with great success in your life. The life and the time period is the same for everybody. There are some people who move much faster in their career. There are some people who stay back. So these are the training programs which are oriented, and we need people like Mr. Ram Subramaniam, as trainers who actually get you pepped up and ensure that you're in the right track, so that your next 24 hours, which is the same for you and me, are much more efficient, and you deliver the best. So thanks a lot, Mr. Ram Subramanian, for joining us on the show. So we would like to hear about your passion. So I hear that you have switched from mechanical engineer, you switched the actual gear to becoming a trainer. You took that passion and you basically pursued your passion where you really loved it. So why did you do that? And we want to hear more about your journey. How was what was the challenges as a mechanical engineer? Why you took this particular thing? Is that your skill set? Was that because of pressure, or was that your interest? And how did this particular journey go as passion? Did you was it tough for you? And what are you currently up to? So over to you.
So first of all, thank you, Mr. Ravi, for inviting me to this program, and a very good morning to you and the viewers. Right? I believe life is a continuous journey where we keep on exploring ourselves more and more. So I was an engineer. I did my graduation, and then I was working in a government organization. I was very happy being an engineer, and I was an acknowledged engineer. But still, there was something of a deeper pull towards me, a deeper pull, right, with respect to trying to identify what makes people take, what drives them, why do they do what they want to do, what is there really driving them, and at some level, what sustains that behavior. They might get into very stuck patterns. So this was an ongoing question that was continuously keeping again and again with me. And then I was going through all the psychology courses, and then NLP happened in my life. So I find NLP as a very powerful tool for both personal and professional development. It's all about excellence, trying to understand where our own excellence comes from and trying to have more reasonable control over that excellence, right? So that we don't leave it to chance. Right? We can identify where we are doing our own best and try and repeat it as much as possible. So that gave me, I would say, a good perspective how to lead our lives more purposefully. So then that happened, and then right, working with people both at an organization level and at a networking level, trying to understand what is actually ticking within them. And one of the NLP perspectives is there is a positive intention behind every behavior, which made me very curious, trying to understand what could be the positive intention behind a behavior that seems inappropriate to us. So going behind multiple layers, I was able to relate to more and more people, and then I felt that this is where I can really create more impact. And then I made a decision, and then I switched my career from being an engineer, very happy engineer, and to that of a trainer, to start exploring more and more about myself and what are the values which I can create.
So you would have dealt with a lot of people around. So seeing a person, can you now make out what they're really lacking, or after a couple of conversations, can you really make out what they desire, and what is that they need to learn and keep moving.
Yeah. So one thing based on my coaching conversations and my training programs, one thing I'm able to understand is that people are very clear about what they don't want. but they may not be that clear about what is that they really want. Right? This we have heard many times, but really, right, when we go deep and try to understand what is that a person really want, uh, what results is in a lot of ambiguity. People are generally very clear about what they don't want because they have a very conscious awareness with respect to us themselves, right? What is happening, what is not working for them, what are the negativities in their life. They are too focused on that. And in NLP, we call it as a moving away syndrome. I don't want this. I want to move away from this. That is pretty evident, right? It's like, if I can use a metaphor, it is like being chased like a mad dog, right? When a mad dog chases us, right? We don't know where to go. But at the other end of the spectrum, there is a pot of gold which says that this is what I really want. And so this is a continuous spectrum where people have conflicts. Should I move away from something or should I move towards something? So that is the biggest conflict that I normally find, Mr. Ravi. So getting set into that, yes, when we run away from a mad dog, it's very motivating. It's called as a pain principle. That could be a big motivator for people. But on the other hand, just that alone will not be sufficient. We need to channelize our energy to really understand what is that we really want and start taking concrete steps, getting the hands dirty, right, and moving towards that pot of gold. So that is one thing which I really work on at the first level.
Yeah, there is a common misconception, whenever we talk about these new generation training programs and, something which has got fancy terminologies. People feel these are only for, corporates, these are only for leaders. So who all can, sign up for this particular program? Can a person who's not working in the business, doing a small business, can a person who's a student, will it be helpful for a housewife who wants to drive some, a small boutique of hers? What range of category of people can this be applied for?
So NLP is very generic in nature, right? It's very exploding field, and we have NLP for business people. We have NLP very small niches. NLP for doctors, NLP for teachers. It's very generic in nature, and it has lots of frameworks that are application oriented. So, but generally, so I would say that any people who are not very clear about what they want, and they are getting stuck and they too much focus on the negativities that are happening in their lives. The second thing is NLP believes people already have all the resources they need, right? I also firmly believe that, right? People are basically having lots of potential in them. But what is not allowing them to access that potential are the limiting beliefs and thinking processes, right? Lots of conditioning. But definitely at some level, what has helped me, what I have learned has helped me to come up to this level. But whatever I know may not be able to help me take to the next level. So sometimes lots of unlearning is also necessary in terms of beliefs and value systems and the thinking processes. So again, right, very generic in nature, but specifically when you come with a particular context, NLP can really help.
It can be applied to anybody.
Yeah. The third one more thing is, yeah, I know what I want. I am also becoming aware of my limiting patterns. But how do I manage my mind states? That's again very important things, right? So we all have a favorite feeling throughout the day, right? We get stuck into that favorite feeling, which could be either useful or not useful. So becoming how to manage our moods, that is again one of the very important things. The last one and the fourth one is what's the purpose, right? Why am I doing all this? So these things could be applicable for any individual, any executive, or a businesswoman. So we give the basic framework and then go a deep dive into try and understand what is the particular context in which the individual is functioning, right? Either personally or professionally, be that in employment or that be that business owner. So that's how I take it.
A lot of our friends lost their jobs, due to pandemic, or due to some businesses which basically shut down because of the issues. And there are people who are searching for jobs. So does this, can this also be applied to those people? People who are searching for new jobs, people who are like ready to switch gears or explore something else because they lost their current job.
Yeah, definitely. So in crisis situations, right, we lose confidence. Right? When a crisis comes, the first thing that goes for a task is our ability to be confident. NLP teaches a person how to actually become confident, even amidst very difficult situations. And again, right, going back, we already have excellence. We already are successful. We already know how to deal with challenges, right? So our ability to focus on the past, right? Everything depends on focus. Where do you focus? Generally, 4 areas for us to focus on. With respect to the past, we have something positive, something negative. With respect to the future, we have something positive, something we have negative, right? When we focus on the future, something negative, we become anxious. When we focus on the past that is negative, we become depressed or disappointed. But there are other two things, something on the positive in the past and something on the positive in the future. So ability to train our mind to focus on something in the past which has been positive, to identify I do have the resources, I have handled challenges like this time, that is where we get the confidence. And with respect to the future, what is that I really want and how do I strategize for achieving that? So these are the 2 areas in which we can spend most of our conscious time. That is where we can get lots of, I would say, empowerment.
So, can this be applied for women who are basically housewives, but have a zeal to do something in their life? Where apart from managing kids, family, they want to contribute. They want to do something. Might not be for financial this thing, earning, getting a fixed salary, but want to create their own identity. मुझे कुछ करना है. I just don't want to be a housewife. I want to contribute to my family, or I need to create my identity. So for such this thing, what is your suggestion? And with this NLP, can something be done?
Yeah, definitely, right. I think you have touched a very important point. So, NLP believes that all our learnings are of two types: our belief systems and our value systems. What you are right now talking about is a value system, right? What is important to me? So, as a housewife, yes, I have responsibilities. When I need to take care of my family members and support them, that is one value. Family happiness is a very important value for housewives. At the same time, they are also becoming aware more of the strengths, right, and their capabilities, and they also want to express that. That is another value. So I would look at it as a value conflict, and the prioritization of values and accommodating the values. The core values have to be accommodated within 24 hours. Right? So we have a framework for that. Right? We can go deep dive and try and understand what is the value hierarchy, what is more important to them, what is next. Maybe we can talk about our 5 core values and try and accommodate them into our time management. That's where I think we have a very strong purpose and direction in life, Mr. Ravi.
I like that strong purpose in life. Or what is the purpose? What is that? I'm in that journey. Honestly, the initiative of this particular Work TV, getting people connected and all that. I wanted to create. Till now it's been like Ravi works for this corporate, Ravi worked for that corporate, Ravi tagged on to a specific brand. Titles doesn't matter. It's always been a growth. This thing but after that, what is the identity? We have this movie Evade Subramaniam in Telugu. It's basically who's Subramaniam. End of the day, so who's Ravi? And you really get stuck as to who's Ravi. I really don't, except for I was working for this, I work for this brand. I couldn't really create any identity of myself, so I was like stuck. कहाँ जा रहा हूँ? What will I tell tomorrow? I retire. What would I tell people that who am I? So that was completely lacking. I think some of these training programs. I'm glad we some programs like this have result oriented programs have really come out. And how was the feedback? Any stories, miracles, after training programs? I'm sure they come back to you after a couple of days saying that this has changed the way they looked at things or changed their life. So maybe couple of stories which you can share with us.
So I remember one person, he was into HR. He came to me with the idea he wanted to become a psychology professor. He was very interested by psychology, with psychology, and he wanted to investigate that and wanted to become a psychology professor. And then we went through the regular coaching process, and over a period of time, it's all about trying to understand the reality, getting connected with how it would be if I become a psychology professor. We call it as an ecology check. Right? Most of the times, we need to understand when I reach my goal, I would have changed it in many ways. Without me changing, I wouldn't have reached my goal. And if that be okay with me, can I preserve something positive which is in my right moment? Can I preserve that positiveness when I reach the goal? So that is very important. Otherwise, we'll be left with regrets. Right? When we don't calculate, take that into factor. That's called the ecology setup. NLP. When I did that, I was able to understand that no, it's not really psychology professor I want to become. I want to become an entrepreneur. And then he pursued on that journey, and now today he is operating from his hometown with the food line, right? Very specific to that particular geographical territory. He's doing good there. So that is one thing which really that I feel makes me feel good.
So somebody wanted to become a psychology professor, and you basically made him realize that he is really good as an entrepreneur,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
businessman. Completely different,
Yeah,
different lines altogether.
I personally believe NLP is entrepreneurial in nature. So one question that keeps on hunting again and again: what is that you want? What is it you really want? What is it you really, really want? So that question keeps on hunting, so that we can understand, right? I would say it's being more authentic in nature, trying to be in the flow, right, and contribute, right, and everything happens. All the other pieces fit in. So that's I would look at NLP in that way.
Superb. Any other success story before we get into rapid fire questions?
Yeah, another success stories was another individual of she recently underwent my coaching program, and she was very good, and she was having very short-term goals, very short-term goals, and she was doing very good in whatever she was doing. But then I somehow felt that there was a lack of direction. Right, there are two things. One, the short-term goals, which can really motivate us. But the other thing is the direction and purpose, which need to be set by the long-term goals. So the long-term goals give you a direction, but the short-term goals keeps us motivated. The best combination would be really empowering. So I have put her on a long-term vision, and then I coached her, and then now she has a very specific direction. She wants to choose a niche, and she wants to start more clinics. She's into more of the doctorhood and the profession of a doctor. She wants to have more clinics and wants to run a chain of that particular clinics. Now she feels more direction oriented, and once that sets in, decision making becomes easy, right? What are the things I don't want in my life? That's what she says. So decision making has become much easier for her.
Superb. So good one. So we have some rapid fire questions, sir, so that we get to know you well, and our friends will get to know you well.
Scared. I'm scared.
I'm sure you would have traveled a lot of locations, for your training programs. So most beautiful place that you've been.
Uh, I love NLP retreats, right? Retreats where we move away from whatever whatever we have a conditioning as a regular training program done between four walls. Go to the nature and be with the nature, and be very flexible with the timings. So one thing which I recently trained was an ECR where I did a NLP retreat program, the 3 days NLP retreat program. So that was really amazing because we were having a very interesting conversation where lots of mutual happenings, mutual learnings were happening between all the participants and myself, even over a cup of coffee when we had our breakfast, when we go for a lunch. And suddenly someone came and said, why don't we have a extended night program? We started at 9:30 in the night, 9:30 p.m. in the night, and ended up around 12 midnight. So those things are very flexible. Being with the nature, we had training programs in the beach, using the sand as the drawing board, and lots of stuff could be really happening.
Superb.
That is one thing which I really love.
Yeah. Being into training, you basically observe, how your students do, whether it's classroom or, it's a large auditorium. What is the most disgusting thing which you see students do while they're getting training, which really upsets you? They're paying for the program, or the corporate is paying for the program, but, these some people who are in the training program, what makes that,
Yeah,
some examples like that.
yeah. So it could happen, right, to any
Yeah, yeah,
trainer
it can
because
happen.
from an NLP perspective, we can't do an NLP intervention without an invitation, right? That is very clear, right? But when it's the context of a corporate training, right, some people might feel they are forced to attend the training, and particularly it could happen when we deal with students, right? So the body language could be very different. They might be very close. They may not be having an eye contact. The response, they may not be responding in a positive way. All those things are could be there. But we do have something which is called as a setting a frame, right? How do we set the frame? So they would be having the experiences of such training programs or such programs in the past, and they would be referring that this is what is going to happen. We call it as a generalization. If we're able to break that generalization, then we'll be able to create an impact. So the frame could be that everyone have problems. Am I right, Ravi?
Yes.
Everyone have problems, right? So we can focus on the problems instead of the content that is going on, and instead of trying to project us, if you can try and somehow relate with them. At some level, I also found that making ourselves vulnerable could be more useful, right? You're able to create rapport and trust, and from then on, when people talk about problems which could be useful to us, people get motivated, right? They get to focus. So it might happen. There have been a few instances which had happened, maybe for the first session, to 1.5 hours. But when I try to be as authentic as possible and try to be as vulnerable as possible, then I'm able to get a better response.
So, how does Ramasubramanian measure success? For you, who's a successful person? What are the things he needs to have?
Sorry? How do I
What are the
measure
things he needs to have? A person who's successful, what are the prerequisites, and what is that accumulation they need to have?
Okay. So we believe unconscious mind is very powerful, and it's a very powerful indicator. So I measure success by my kinesthetic feelings, my sense of how happy I am, right, when I do something. And it need not be necessarily measured by numbers. That is one thing I'm increasingly learning now, right? It's more about what is happening here, or how do you really feel when you do a job. So for me, success, I look at success as two levels. One is the process, and the second success is the feeling, right? The once we have done that, how are we really able to feel? That would be my indications of success.
So, so wealth, car, property, some of these things might not have importance.
They do have an importance, because money and wealth is something very, very important, because it helps us to really be free, right, and not become desperate, right? When you become desperate, that's an I would say it's an not empowering state, right? When we are desperate, so we need to look at ways and means where we need to be comfortable, and wealth and money could really make us really very comfortable, and the freedom aspects, right? Whom to work with, where to work, what to work, and when to work, and what price to work. The more I get these things under my control, then I move away from being desperate, and that could be more useful.
So, do you have any fears personally?
Of course, of course, fears at multiple levels. One thing is at the tactical level, I'm not a very detail-oriented person. I'm afraid that something I have overlooked, and that might create an interruption in my process. At a strategical level, I'm afraid that there may be a few choices they're making which may not be really useful to me in the long run. Right? There are so many strategies available, so I'm just trying to learn all those things. So something which may not be useful to me in the long run, that is it. At the bigger purpose level, I'm pretty sure that I'm traveling on the right path, but I need to get more data.
Out of all the programs, what are you really good at? Because all these programs have certain qualities, and each trainer, each coach has their own skill sets. Let's say there is a retreat program of NLP, practitioners happening. What is that unique quality Ramasubramanian has?
I would say, right, I tend to operate on a win-win basis, on a long-term basis, and I really want to create value for the participants, right? And try and do my best, right? I do take, I go the extra mile when I try to really create value. That is one thing, and I operate from a win-win perspective and long-term. Those are the things, and I think I'm good in uh, peeling off the layers, right? We call it as unpacking the experience of an individual by asking questions, so that the client himself becomes aware. NLP is not about advising, right? Because one statistic says that 95% of advices are not followed, right? So the client has to own that experience or own that advice that is coming from within, and for that, the unpacking of the experience that the client goes through could be pretty valuable. It brings in a lot of awareness and helps the client create choices. I think I'm reasonably good in asking questions. These are the two things which has been given as a feedback to me, Ravi.
Super. How often do you help people? Like, are you also inclined to servicing others apart from your profession?
Servicing others in the sense, right? I do some charity work. I do that on my own at a very limited level.
Hmm.
I personally believe I need to keep on working on myself so that I can create more value to others. So I'm about to launch some free programs, and I think once I do that, I'll be able to reach out to more people at more deeper and wider levels. Ravi, that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Super. So, do you suggest people that they should have goals or just live your life the way it is? Need not have goals, and just live your life. A lot of people, a lot of movies nowadays showcase that enjoy life. Don't take it too seriously and stuff like that. So what's your mantra? What's your take on that?
I would say trust your unconscious. Ask your unconscious what is that you really want to be. If I really want to let go of all my goals and live in the present moment, then that suits you the best. We need to honor the unconscious because whatever the problem or an opportunity it presents, it has to be valued. Right? We believe that. Right? It's a very big thing where it processes so many data that are not available to the conscious mind and comes up with an emotion. So we need to learn to listen to our unconscious, the inner voice, and be true and authentic to that. So I would really encourage. It's an individual choice, Ravi. I don't think there is a something like a thumb rule. Everyone has to have goals. Everyone has to let go of goals and live. I think life is in always. Right? Lots of permutations and combinations of that, and the individual is the best judge. Right? So I would ask him to really deeply look into his own self, the inner voice, and choose to make decisions, and also be open to the possibility that it could change. Right? So maybe sometime later, the person becomes more. I wouldn't even say goal oriented, become more purpose oriented. The person who is more purpose oriented at sometimes can just let go of, just lay back and then enjoy. Right? The combinations are possible. The individual is the best to judge.
So, what is the COVID mantra which you've been preaching for the last couple of months, based on the current pandemic? A lot of things are going on everybody's head now. So,
So I would say, right, we need to learn. There are lots of learning that could happen. So it gives an opportunity to pass and take stock for value system. What is more important in my life? And when we are able to pass ourselves, we become more aware of our own self. Right? What am I really good at? And can I utilize those strengths, right, for my future? So passing and trying to focus, go dive, have a deep dive within, and trying to understand what am I really good at, right? And then once that is there, then we can create opportunities for the applications of those strengths.
uh, with this experience, what would you do if you become the chief minister? What are the positive reforms you would bring in for your state, for the nation?
On a very long-term basis, I would say that I would be focusing more on uh, children and young students because once we get them, once we catch them doing right, that could be something so beneficial for the society. So I would encourage all the schools to have a set of counselors who are well trained and try and give one-to-one attention to each and every student, try to understand what is happening in them and how they can be helped out, and also bring in the support of their families and also the teachers. So the counselors could be a bridge between the teaching community and the family and try and understand what is happening and then help them out at a group level and also at a one-to-one
One-to-one
level.
level.
Because once we catch hold of that potential, I think down the line, really the society could be it could be very beneficial for the society. That's what I feel.
Super. So thanks a lot, sir, for joining this particular show. It was an honor having you here, because experience talks. There are a lot of programs out there. There are a lot of practitioners out there, but experience can teach a lot of things. You have a vast experience, and I really like the way of all the combination of programs which you have inculcated for yourself, which will benefit others for greater good. So Thank you for joining the show, and friends, do follow Mr. Ramasubramanian. We'll share the social handles where he's available, including the website. It's XLHR. That's the organization he leads. But his particular program, Ram's NLP, is a program which should benefit everybody. So, yeah, any state of mind you are right now as to what you should do with life, which job you should take up, what really works for you. A lot of people take up the job based on the salary. That should not be the point, but what you're really good at. Identify yourself, and all housewives out there who want to do something, people who've lost jobs, if they want to switch gears, maybe this is the right time to undergo this particular program and see what you're really good at. So do follow. I mean, I've seen a couple of videos that he shared about his perspective, a couple of free webinars that he's doing, so that you can understand how this program can benefit you. So feel free to ask questions, reach out to him, join these webinars, so that you can really get a sense of what this program is all about. So thanks a lot, friends, for joining in, and thanks a lot, sir, again, for joining this particular show. I really thoroughly enjoyed this particular conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi, and thanks for the viewers and for spending the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.